Hello, beautiful people. I hope that everyone is doing well. My name is Evelin Barta. Welcome back to a new video. So in today's video, I will be talking about the energies of February 2023. It's the first today, and I want to really dive into the energies of this month, and then also what astrological transits will be present, what will be influencing the collective, and then also us individually as well. So I don't know how you all feel about January, how the month was for all of you. For me, it was quite a hard month and there were lots of things that happened. And I feel like what is happening in February energetically is more like a calm before the storm, because March will be quite a pivotal month in terms of the collective energies. So March will be the biggest and perhaps the most significant month of the year. We have Pluto moving into Aquarius, and then we also have Saturn moving into Pisces in March. So there are many collective changes that we will be experiencing after this particular transit. So February is really like a road opener, and it's an opportunity to tie up loose ends. And what is interesting about it is that we don't have any major planets. So we don't have planets that are retrograde until mid-April. And that is serving as a momentum for us. So is catapulting us to the next level. And no planets retrograde means that we don't have any roadblocks, so we can move forward. So February is about getting clear about where we stand and where we want to go, getting clear about our goals as well, gaining clarity about that. And as I said, it's time to wrap up loose ends. And the main theme of the month is that progress needs to be made. So this month is inspiring us to move forward, to progress, to take the leap, to leap forward into the next phase of our journey. So it's all about movement, momentum, progressing, learning. And as I said, it also feels like there's a calm before the storm, before all these energies are reaching a boiling point in March. We are changing gears in a sense in March. So on the 5th of February, we have full moon in Leo, and that is bringing some bright and bold energies. And Uranus is also very active at this time. And Uranus is all about expansion, is all about intensifying the current energies, the energies that are present, because it's propelling us to an expansion. So in order for us to expand in a certain area, those energies need to be intensified. It can create this energy and this sense of urge, not only sense, but then an urge to be more creative in our lives and to bring this innovation in certain areas. And because Uranus is all about abrupt changes, sudden changes, then that particular change or certain changes can come in abruptly. But those changes are all coming from our soul, the desire of our hearts, and we have to welcome those changes. So even though they are coming in abruptly and they might feel like we have not been ready for that, on a soul level, we have been ready for a long time, but we did not acknowledge that. So I hope that makes sense. So this full moon shines the spotlight on life's rewards or on life's lack. So any area that we are lacking something, and it shines bright light on the matters of the heart as well. So it will highlight areas in terms of the matters of the heart where we need a change, where we need some expansion. So it's a time of breakthroughs, and it's a time of acknowledgement and getting the acknowledgement and then recognition for things that we deserve. And that is a Uranus influence, to get acknowledgement for what you deserve. But then also, as I said, it can bring in changes. So that is the shadow side of Uranus, that it wants to help you to expand in your life, but it might bring something that is making you understand which areas of your life you are lacking something, and it can come in fast. So this Leo full moon is a call for a reinvented lifestyle, for a reinvented career, or for a reinvented relationship with someone or with yourself as well, bringing in some new energies and some innovation. And then on the 5th of February as well, or more specifically starting from the 3rd of February until the 5th of February, we do have Ceres in Libra, who is retrograde. So Ceres is an asteroid, is not a planet. So as I said, we don't have any planets retrograde, but then Ceres goes retrograde in Libra. And it's opposing Jupiter in Aries as well. And this particular transit can be a signature for a karmic recall or for a karmic replay. So there are certain karmic debts that can be resolved at this time. This retrograde in Ceres can be feeling a little bit like going from one extreme to the other extreme. Because Ceres and Jupiter, so this combination is all about stripping away all the narratives and all the rationalizing. So rationalization that is preventing you to achieve what you want to achieve, and that is preventing you to be also truthful to yourself. And this transit has a very creative potential as well, because we do have full moon in Leo, and then we have Jupiter in Aries, and that is encouraging you to put confidence and courage to the test, because Aries is all about confidence and courage, and Jupiter is the expansion of courage and confidence and self-esteem, and then also the willpower that is necessary to achieve what we want to achieve. And that will make you to go the distance for yourself and for your soul's desires. However, because Aries is being ruled by Mars, and then Mars is the planet of war, as we know, so because of this warrior kind of energy of Aries, it will make this transit a little bit difficult when it comes to legal matters, or when it comes to diplomacy and peacemaking. It can trigger oppression, it can trigger aggression as well in the collective. But because, as I said, full moon, we have the full moon on the 5th, and then Uranus is active at the full moon. Jupiter is expansion. Uranus is very future oriented, very innovative. It can propel you to think differently about your future, to think differently about your approach and what your goals are and why you want those goals. Because if you want those goals for the wrong reasons, and if those desires are coming from lack, which is absolutely normal if we have unresolved trauma from the past, we have desires that can fulfill certain areas where we are experiencing lack. Let's say that you have a problem with money. You did have financial problems when you were a child. You did not experience fully what is to be a child because you needed to work super hard. Now your soul's desire is to experience the opposite of that, to have a lot of money and not having to worry about money. And then also you have a desire to be a child again, because you felt like you needed to grow up too fast and you did not experience everything that is coming with your childhood. You didn't have time, in other words, to be a child. So your soul's desires are coming from your personal trauma and unresolved trauma. And there's nothing wrong with that, because those desires are still desires. But what this transit is doing is shedding light on these things and making you understand why you want those things. And you don't have to downplay your goals and your desires just because they are coming from unresolved issues, unresolved wounds. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is all about understanding that and honoring that. So when I was saying that if those things are coming from the past and you're desiring things for the wrong reasons, I didn't mean that those things are wrong. They are simply coming from a place of lack, and you need to compensate by achieving those goals. You need to compensate something that was missing from your life. So this transit is about understanding that, honoring that, and there are many planets that are active. And then also, as I said, because they are not retrograde, they are propelling us to expansion, to the next level, to a higher level of consciousness, and then higher level of understanding as well. So this transit can be also about revising some contracts, reconsidering legal options as well, because Libra is all about legal things, lawsuits. So reconsidering that when it comes to your future and how to approach certain problems. And because Libra wants always balance, you might find certain balancing resolutions that are a win-win, that are not compromises, but win-win scenarios. This time can be about adapting new self-care, so reintroducing certain routines into your everyday lives that are related to self-care, self-love, if you had any in the past, or finding new approaches when it comes to self-care. Maybe going to therapy, maybe consulting someone that has expertise in an area of self-care or in an area of healing and these kind of things. So it's all about self-care practices. And then on the 15th of February, we have Venus conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. And that is a beautiful, sweet, and soft energy. And paradoxically, or maybe not paradoxically, because nothing is a coincidence, but this is the most romantic transit that you can get. That is bringing the softest, sweetest energy. So all of you that are celebrating Valentine's Day on the 14th of February, this will be the right transit for that. And it's all about opening the heart, like opening the heart wider, deepening your love toward yourself, toward the other person as well, other people, and expressing your ideas into the external world, putting your ideas out there, you know, where people can benefit from that. And sometimes it's not easy to put out your ideas there because you have to be very vulnerable in order to do that. But this particular transit will help you to be more vulnerable. Venus is the planet of love. Neptune is the planet of spirituality and then also intuition. And then all of this, you know, happening in Pisces, which is all about sensitivity, emotions, intuition. So it is the perfect recipe and perfect transit for you to connect to the heart, to connect to that from that not knowing place, and then relying on your heart's wisdom and your heart's guidance. So knowing things without knowing, or relying on that guidance, but you don't know why you rely on that. You just feel like that is the right thing to do because it comes from your inner being. And I also wanted to mention, but I forgot to mention before that on the 11th of February, we have Mercury entering Aquarius. And Mercury feels very good and very comfortable in an air sign. Aquarius is an air sign, and Mercury is all about communication, intellect, learning, awareness, objectivity, curiosity. So this is a great time around the 11th of February to learn something new. And it's great for any activity that is involving the intellect, reading, solving problems, seeing things objectively as well, and then finding solutions by connecting the dots. And on the 20th of February, we have a new moon in Pisces. And this is a little bit different to the previous new moons because we have Saturn that is very active. So this new moon is making an out of sign conjunction with Saturn. So it's a more serious new moon compared to other new moons that were infused with this Neptune energy. So it's a different new moon than other new moons in Pisces. This is what I'm trying to say. And this particular new moon will give us a taste about the upcoming Saturn and Pisces transit. So in March, as I said, Saturn is moving in Pisces, and that is bringing some new collective energies that will bring a completely new theme to the upcoming years. But I don't want to get into that now because this is a huge topic and I want to make a separate video for this transit. And I also want to make a separate video for Pluto entering in Aquarius as well very soon. So that's why I said that March is a pivotal month. So this particular new moon in Pisces on the 20th has a great manifestation potential. And then new moons are always making us to start a new cycle, fresh new start in a sense, every single new moon. It's almost like being born again. And because Saturn is all about work, right? And then traditional thinking, traditional ways, the old ways. It's also about routines and then authority, so that kind of energy, but definitely like putting work into something. It's helping us to manifest what we want because it is aiming to make the intangible tangible. So Pisces is the intangible, Saturn is the tangible. So bringing 5D dreams into the 3D reality because Pisces is all about dreams. So making dreams happen. Dreams do come true if we put in the work, if we do the work. That is what Saturn is about. So having great imagination and then dreaming about something, which is Pisces, right? Visualizing something or meditating on something and trying to bring it to the third dimensional reality is not enough if we don't put in the work. Manifestation entails putting in the work in this 3D reality. And this is what Saturn is helping us to do. So use this new moon for manifestation because, yeah, this transit is really helping you to make it happen. So again, like on the 20th of February, we also have Venus entering Aries. Now, again, Aries is all about willpower. Sometimes is that aggressive energy, but definitely that masculine energy that wants to help you to move forward and propels you to move forward. It gives you the ability to see things objectively and to know what you want. So Venus in Aries know what it wants and it goes for it. But because Aries can get, that is the downside of Aries, it can get very impatient. I have Moon in Aries, so I can get very impatient, especially when it comes to emotions. It can be impulsive as well. It can be very reactive sometimes as well. This transit can make us prone to instant gratification. Like we want something, but we want it now. We don't want to wait for it. But the positive side of it is that because we want something so badly, we will start being very honest about what we want. So it can bring emotional honesty, like openness and boldness. And because that boldness is coming from the heart, and we approach this whole thing, what we want, with an open heart, we will be able to connect to that part of us that is authentic and genuine, and that will give us this aliveness, feeling alive. It's a great time to practice emotional honesty. What are your likes and what are your dislikes? And it's not about broadcasting them to the world, but it's more about accepting them, owning your own feelings and owning your own values and owning your likes and dislikes. Being able to say that, I do like this, but I hate that. But I never said that before because I was afraid that I'm going to be judged. And because of being very clear, so it's helping us to get very clear about our likes and dislikes and values. It is also getting us clear about what our boundaries are, because a boundary is really what defines you, a very defined sense of self. And you will be able to communicate that to others as well, and to own that. I own that I'm different. I'm owning that I don't like what you like, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's bringing this clarity, and then especially in relationships, because Venus is all about connection with others, and then relationships and love, and then also money as well. So it can help us to set boundaries when it comes to our finances, and to express what we like, how we like to make money and how we don't like to make money. This particular job is compatible with my values. This particular team at my workplace is compatible with me because we share the same values, but that job is not. And getting clear about that. This is something that is representing me, is not violating my boundaries. For example, this relationship, this person is not violating my boundaries or is not crossing my boundaries, but the other person is crossing my boundaries. So it's all about getting clear about that, as I said, that accepting these things and accepting the fact that there's nothing wrong with us just because we have a different preference to how we make money and what our likes and dislikes are in a relationship. And then on 25th of February until the 28th of February, we have Jupiter conjunctive Chiron in Aries. And that is about paying attention to our feelings. And if there's anything, any trigger that comes up from the past, anything that is surfacing from the past. So what you need to know about Chiron, and I said it before in my previous videos, is that Chiron is the wounded healer. And there's a myth that goes that Chiron was abandoned at birth and he needed to provide for himself. So he will be forever wounded for the fact that he was abandoned. And whenever and wherever we have Chiron in our chart is representing that area of our lives that we are wounded in. And that particular wound will be always there and will be always influencing us. But it's up to us what we are doing with that wound. And it's really up to us how we look at our wounds, or we look at them as our weaknesses, or we are looking at them as our strengths, as opportunities to build beautiful things on those wounds and to become, whatever we want to be, because we want to fill that void. So it's a little bit like what I was talking about in terms of childhood wounds and childhood traumas that are creating certain desires in us that were unfulfilled when we were young. So it's all about, as I said, this transit, paying attention to feelings that are arising, events or developments, anything that steers inside of you feelings of vulnerability. And Chiron is the wound, our personal wound, and that is different for every single one of us. But Chiron is also representing the wounds that we are sharing collectively. And Jupiter will put a magnifying glass on that wound, both individually and then collectively. And not because it wants to hurt us, but because it wants us to pay attention to what really matters. It's making us to pay attention to old hurts and then old flashbacks. So these old flashbacks might come back, might resurface. Old traumas might resurface towards the end of the month, end of February. So Jupiter is magnifying the experiences that we haven't fully processed, experiences from the past, and we haven't healed. So this is an opportunity for healing. And it is very important before we enter in March to start to be clear about those wounds. Because certain things are there, but because we don't even know that they are there, we cannot pay attention to them, right? So there's an energy that is needed there to magnify and to intensify the pain in order for us to finally pay attention to that. So we need to be grateful for Jupiter for shedding light on those things. All right, so these are the most important planetary transits and then astrological events that are happening in February. Let's pull a few cards. I want to pull some cards from this particular deck. And let's ask about February and then what is healing in the collective. So February energies and then what can we expect collectively. So we are having perspective. A calm and clear mind is free to see things differently. So February will be about changing our perspective because there are lots of lights being shed on things that we didn't even know that were there. And I feel like this perspective will help us to navigate through the challenges that might come later in this year. So when I talk about March, I'm not meaning that things will be upside down, but then on a collective level, there are many changes that we will be experiencing. The past 3 years were quite challenging in a sense that our nervous system and cosmically as well, we received loads of upgrades. So there was an adaptation of our nervous system. And for some people, it was challenging, more challenging. For other people, it was less challenging. And it was all coming down to the fact that some of us, we have put in more work into our spiritual development before 2020. Other people's spiritual development and then awakening started because of these catalytic events that we experienced collectively. And I feel like February will be the month of, as I said, tying up loose ends, but then also a month of starting to change our perspective. That will help us to navigate through the changes that are coming collectively due to these planetary transits. So yeah, let's get some more cards. So what else we are experiencing collectively in February? All right, we have intention, lacking personal direction, baguettes, confusion, and life as a pawn to someone else's game of chess. So I feel like there's more intention. We are getting more clear about our intention. And all these aspects that I was talking about, all these transits are helping us to get clear about our plans. Why we want certain things, why we are having certain desires. Are they coming from really our soul as a way to express ourselves? Or they are coming from childhood trauma and these kind of things. Because if we are not clear about our intention and our desires, then we can be a part of someone else's game of chess. And this is what we are experiencing on an occult and esoteric level. There are certain entities, which I always talk about, that want us to be part of their chess game. And they don't want humanity to wake up to its true potential. They don't want humanity to heal their traumas. These individuals don't even have an understanding about what traumas are. I mean, there are understandings about traumas on higher levels. And that is why how they are initiating certain people in those groups by creating trauma very early on in their childhood. So humanity is going through this process of understanding their soul, understanding their soul's desires and understanding what trauma is. There's a tremendous amount of people that are working on their traumas this year. So one of the main themes of this year is healing trauma, and especially healing relationship trauma. So humanity is really interested now, I can say. We are very, very interested as a collective in our old patterns and understanding our old patterns. They are still indecision and a lot of denial in the collective. But I feel like that old spiritual bypassing that the New Age was propagating, I mean, people that were part of the New Age, they are waking up to the realization that they have been bypassing loads of things, that spirituality was an escapism for them, but that is changing. And I feel like these very important transits will bring a twist, a plot twist in that as well. All right, so let me just pull, plot twists when it comes to understanding that we have been part of this mentality of escapism. So we are experiencing a shift in that escapism consciousness. All right, so collective energies, February 2023, collective energies. So we are having the Five of Swords that came out like this, which is reversed. We are having Temperance upright, Ten of Cups that is upright, and then Five of Cups that is upright as well. So it's very interesting because I was just talking about the collective energies, and the Five of Cups is talking about processing old losses and then heartbreaks and then certain dramatic situations that were part of our lives that haven't been healed or processed. Now we are able to process those things in February. And those things are related very much to relationships and then relationship patterns as well. And because we have the Temperance as well that came out upright, this is talking about finding a common ground in relationships as well. And then understanding that the way forward is not making compromises, but finding a common ground. And what I feel like in terms of relationships, like as a collective, we are having the wrong understanding about what a compromise is, because a compromise is always a win-lose. When finding a common ground, not fighting, finding a common ground is all about a win-win situation. And if we are able to find that win-win in our relationships, those win-win situations, then we will be able to find the same things when it comes to complicated matters of our societal matters, and to operate from compassion, because that is bringing resolutions. So because the Five of Swords, when it's reversed, is representing either a fair fight or realizing that you don't want to fight anymore, I feel like what we will be feeling is like that victim mentality is no longer working, and we don't want to survive anymore. So instead of surviving and making it through life somehow, with our difficulties, we can do things in a different way. And that is what humanity is awakening to. Like, there's no more survival mode. And there's where the big shift is happening, because the more we are transmuting our karma, the less distortions we are having in our minds, and then the more resolutions we are finding to our personal lives as well. So this old Saturnian energy and this energy of survival and feeling inferior when it comes to authorities, when it comes to people in power, is leaving the collective now, because we feel equal and we deserve a life that is much more fulfilled than to just be constantly in a survival mode. So I hope it makes sense. So because Pluto is also moving into Aquarius, it will be all about equality. And yeah, I will be talking about that. So yeah, I love the energies of February because it will bring some understanding. It will bring some balance as well. And then it will wake us up to our true potential. And as I said, that we are equal, and we deserve what we deserve, and we deserve to be treated equally as well. So it's a little bit like a prelude before we are entering in March. So this is what I'm seeing, guys, for the month of February. I hope it resonated. Please subscribe to this channel if it did. And you can subscribe to my other channel as well, which is called Esoterica with Evelin, if you haven't done it yet, where I'm sharing readings, collective readings, and yeah, just tarot readings in general. If you like those type of videos, then definitely go there and subscribe. And if you want to book a personal reading, now I'm open to them, and you will find information about that down below in the description box. You can just send me an email as well. And anyone who would like to support my work, you can do it on Patreon. You're more than welcome to join. And that allows me to post more frequently, to create content. I'm having readings there as well about different topics. And then also I'm doing discussions about world news and what is happening on a 3D level. So like those podcast type of videos I'm doing. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. And then thank you so much everybody who is already supporting my work. Your contributions mean a lot to me. Take care everybody. Have an amazing February. And I cannot wait to see you next time.